Now, M1S might be the fight in this Savage tier that you would want asymmetrical letter markers for, because of this mechanic near the end, right after the Mouser 2 mechanic called Raining Cats. This is the tether mechanic in the M1S fights. You basically want a letter marker here within melee range of the boss, and a further away marker on the other side. This is because this is where we will have the melee light party of all the melees and the tanks on that marker, and the ranged of the ranged casters and healers on this marker away from the boss. The boss will cast Raining Cats, the tethers will form, and then it will be time to grab the tethers. Now, if you do want to cheese this mechanic a little bit, Tank Invuln can take about 3 hits of this tether. 3 hits out of the 4 hits that the tether will do. So you can have the main tank and the off tank take the tether at the beginning or at the end. They can invuln, and they could roughly get survive 3 hits from the tethers with invuln. That's if you want to cheese it. Now, if you don't want to cheese it, or if you don't want to risk it, or if you're using invuln for something else, for emergencies, for proc, for whatever, basically you'll just be having members from these parties take turns taking these tethers in the order that you would determine with the party when you are forming it in the party finder or wherever with your static. So the people that take these tethers, be they the tanks or not, they'll stand with them. Let's have a healer grab this tether, grab the 2 tethers, and then they will be hit with basically proteins that will shoot and strike the party members, give them a vulnerability to it, so no one could take the tethers more than once except for a tank with invuln, and you'll just have to cycle through a predetermined order to cover all of these tethers and survive all of them and get through this mechanic. Now, the kicker, the thing that makes this complicated, is that there will be AoEs going off these stacks that the melee and range parties will have to take. And what determines who gets these is that the range parties stack targets the person that is furthest from the boss. Targets the person furthest from the boss, so it'll have to be ranged here. And then the other one, the one that targets the melee, targets the closest person to the boss. So it'll have to be the melee party here. Maybe the tank will join them and help out. All that sort of thing. What complicates this is that the targeting for these stacks includes the people with the tethers. So if you're a person with a tether, even if you're ranged, don't stand all the way out, because you're going to be hit with the protein cleave and you're going to get hit with the stack marker and you will perish horribly. So you want to be sort of a middle of the ranged. Don't be as close as the closest melee person. Don't be farther than the farthest range person. Hold your tether roughly somewhere around the middle range in order to properly bait the tethers and to not bait these stacks. And you just have to do this repeatedly for all 4 hits of the Raining Cats. So you can either have one person from each party take 1 hit at the beginning or at the end and have tanks invuln through 3 of them, or have your order to take all of the tethers, and just do that while keeping distances in mind. This is why the markers would be helpful, to have a gauged distance of how far you can be. Don't cleave each other with the proteins. Stay away from the stack markers if you're taking a protein. All of that. You just have to pay attention to that cycle until the mechanic is resolved.